Arus, Priest of Mitra, had instilled in Gorm, the Pictish chief, a desire to see the civilized lands. At Gorm's request, Arus conducted him and some of his warriors through the Bossonian marches, where the honest villagers stared in amazement, and into the glittering outer world. Soon Picts came and went freely into all Aquilonia. Arus no doubt thought he was making converts for Mitra right and left, because the Picts listened to him and refrained from smiting him with their copper axes, but what they really wished to learn from him and did was how to mine the vast iron deposits in their hills and work them into weapons. With these, Gorm began to assert his dominance over the other Pictish clans. Aquilonia, meanwhile, pursuing her wars of aggression to the south and east, paid little heed to the vaguely known lands of the west, from which more and more stocky Pictish warriors swarmed to take service in her mercenary armies. These warriors, their service completed, went back to their wilderness with good ideas of civilized warfare, and that contempt for civilization which arises from familiarity with it. As for Gorm, he became chief of chiefs, the nearest approach to a king the Picts had in thousands of years. He had waited long, he was well past middle age. Too late, Arus saw his mistake. He had touched only the pagan's greed, not his soul, and making a last effort to undo his unwitting work, he was brained by a drunken Pict. Gorm was not without gratitude. He caused the skull of the slayer to be set on top of the priest's cairn. The Picts burst upon the Bossonian frontiers, clad not in tiger skins, but in scale mail, wielding weapons of keen steel. Still for years, the sturdy Bossonian marches held the invaders at bay, thus keeping them from attacking Aquilonia itself. Meanwhile, the Aquilonian Empire waxed strong, and arrogance leading them to treat less powerful peoples, even the Bossonians, with growing contempt. Argos, Zingara, Ophir, Zamora, and the Shemite countries were treated as subjected countries, which was especially galling to the proud rebellious Zingarans. Koth too was practically tributary, and first Stygia, then Bithynia were defeated in battle, yet powerful Nemedia directly to the west had never been subdued. Thus the Aquilonian armies moved at last against their neighbor state. Their glittering ranks, however, were largely filled by mercenaries, especially the Bossonians. Because of the Eastern War, scarcely enough men were left in the Bossonian marches to guard the frontier, and hearing of Pictish outrages in their homelands, whole Bossonian regiments quit the Nemedian campaign and marched westward, where they defeated the Picts in a single great battle. This desertion, however, was the direct cause of the Aquilonians' defeat by the desperate Nemedians, and thus brought down on the Bossonians the cruel and short-sighted wrath of the imperialists. Aquilonian regiments were brought to the borders of the marches, and the Bossonian chiefs were lured into their encampment. There the unarmed chiefs were massacred, and the imperial hosts then attacked the unsuspecting people. From north to south, the marches were ravaged, and the Aquilonian armies marched back from the borders, leaving a ruined and devastated land behind them. And then the Pictish invasion burst in full power along those borders, led by Gorm, an old man now, but with the fire of his fierce ambition undimmed. This time there were no sturdy Bossonian warriors in their path, so that the blood-mad barbarians swarmed into Aquilonia itself, before her legions could return from the war in the east. Zingara seized this opportunity to throw off the yoke, followed by Corinthia and the Shemites. Whole regiments of mercenaries and vassals mutinied and marched back to their own countries, looting and burning as they went, while still the Picts surged irresistibly eastward. In the most of this chaos, the wild-born Cimmerians swept down from their northern hills, completing the ruin, and the Aquilonian Empire went down in fire and blood.